Thanks for joining us, Mike. Picking up the slack for Jimmy and Andy. They don't care about the show anymore, apparently. A couple weeks in a row. Well, Andy was here last week. Shouldn't be. You know what? They're fine. We all get some time off. We got people ready to fill in. How we doing, boys?
Pretty solid. Yeah, pretty solid. Nice
Beautiful
fucking day out
today.
Yeah.
How'd you shoot
Back
it?
in the pool.
I'm absolutely dog shit at golf. I'm getting better, but I'm still very bad. I'm still looking for that elusive 100. I shot a 106 today and had a meltdown on I think like 3 holes. Nice shots overall, but I mean I have to like put it all together, and it's very difficult to do. So I still enjoy it though. I enjoy going out there, playing, having fun. So until it becomes like not fun and I hate my life afterwards, I'll continue to do it.
Nice. That's what it's all about.
All right.
And we appreciate the honesty too. 106 isn't terrible. I don't think I could shoot a 106.
And this is coming from a guy, literally, if you ask any of my friends, like I hated golf. I hated them for liking golf. And then you go out a couple times, you get invited and you have like a couple nice shots or you get a couple nice putts and you're like, oh, all right, well, maybe I can do that. And, like we talked about before, it's consistency and it's continuing to go. You got to go at least once a week, twice a week, but then that costs money. It, takes about 4 or 5 hours out of your day. Your wives start yelling at you. It's,
It is a great way to start the day though.
And so, yeah, that was what we were talking about today. It was a 6:20 tee time. And when my buddy sent it to me, he's like, hey, we got another early tee time. And I'm like, I see 6:20 on the paper and I'm like, oh my God, it's terrible. But as soon as you wake up and you get out there and that first hole's in, you're like, all right, this is the best time to go golfing because it's not 3,000 degrees, still cool, still
early
breezy.
Times are great.
Yeah. So
and the thing is, you're right. Everything about golf that's fun is the camaraderie.
Yeah.
And just hanging out. And then
The anticipation.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same thing for me every time too. I'm not very good, but I'll hit some good shots towards the end. And I swear to God, every time on the last hole, I'll like chip close and hit a putt.
Yep.
And be like, all right, I'm coming back. And then I'll just suck the first 8 holes or 17 holes, whatever it is, the next time I play.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Rinse, repeat. But I would say Andy or Sean is probably the best golfer among us. They're kind of sus. But we should do some sort of like golf outing sometime. I always say that, like that doesn't even have to be a golf outing, but just like a weekend. Get like 8 of us, go
for sure.
to like Coachman's in Wisconsin. I think it's not that far.
Dibs on Dad is my partner.
I have my first ever like overnight at the end of July. So my buddy's been trying to get me to go for like the last 3 or 4 years. Yeah. Indiana, Swan Lake, Indiana. So
when is that?
The end of July. So the 23rd through the 25th.
Is your goal to try and break 100 for that?
That'd be awesome. Yeah. I mean, we got 5 rounds. So it's 3 days. We play twice on Friday, twice on Saturday, once on Sunday. So it's under $500. You get your 5 rounds with lodging. And I think they give you like $100 gift card for food and snacks and drinks and stuff. So it's a pretty solid deal. I'm excited.
So let's get the honest assessment of your game. Where's your strong points? Where could you use some improvements?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I need so my putting is probably my strong suit. I hit my irons decent and I need to drive better. If I get a hold of a drive and I hit it straight, I mean, it's a pretty solid shot, but that comes with consistency. I mean, I'm slicing the ball today. Like my first 4 or 5 drives, I was not slicing as much. But then like you don't zone in on exactly what you're doing, and then you change something up or you tweak something or you go back to kind of what you were doing before the round started, and then I start slicing. So
That that's my problem is
putting is probably my first my best thing. But then there's like random days where I'll drive the shit out of the ball and I fucking 3-putt everything. It's like there's no consistency in putting all the things together. So
that's so funny. You sound exactly the same as me, and I would have the same assessment of myself as far as a player. Good putter, decent with wedges, not really good off the tee box, which hurts me. But I also can only hit like 3 wedges, which sucks. And it's totally mental. Golf is the most mental game ever. And I watch when I'm into golf, I'm watching so many different videos and like reading all these different things of how to improve my swing. Yeah. And then there's just so much going through my head that I can't even process everything. And I start sucking even more. And then it's like when you don't even think about it and you just swing is when you play your best.
Well, that was my slice fix. So my slice fix today, watching a bunch of TikTok videos where like they'll just like randomly come up, and it's like hand placement and how I have my hands on the club. So I did everything that they tell you to do. Like your bottom hand, you want to see, 3 of your knuckles. You want to, that way it's a lot stronger. Top hand, same thing. You kind of want to like squeeze the club a little bit different than you normally would, because we're baseball guys. I mean, we have our door knocking knuckles on the bat. You want to see it a little bit different when you're golfing. I did that. The first 3 or 4 drives were really nice, and then again you start to think that you have it, and then you go back to your old bullshit. So I mean, like I said, it's one of those things where if I go there and I hit like 45 to 50% of my shots nice, then I feel like it's a successful day,
Yeah.
So
Mike, you're still a big bruiser out there?
Yeah, I went last week with my friends and played first hole, played well. Second hole I did
real quick, don't mind me, but I'm taking my contacts out because my eyes are like all of a sudden bothering me. Just keep going though.
No worries. And second hole I teed off and skipped it across the water. It skipped like 6 times, landed in the fairway. So I thought I was off to a good
but it made
start.
it across?
Made it across. Didn't stay in the water.
No water penalty.
Ended up playing terrible. And then I go to the range with Dad this week because I was like, you need to come like see what I'm doing wrong. And he played it in a golf outing yesterday, so he wanted to warm up. And we go to the range and I'm hitting every ball like perfectly. He's like, I thought you said you were having a tough time. I was like, yeah, if I could do this on the golf course, I would be.
Were you hitting off the mats, or were you hitting off?
I was hitting off the mats, so that's part of the reason. But I've never even hit off the mats that well, so I was shocked.
Yeah.
Were you at Fresh Meadows or
overnight golf trip coming up later this year too? So I got to practice for that.
Is that with all your buddies?
No, it's with Kylie's dad's family actually.
Oh, so you got to show up for that for sure.
I can't embarrass myself there,
dude. You cannot sully the Riley name. Otherwise, just don't even, just tell her to break up with you.
Right. I can't do
her.
that.
Like, you have to dump me.
Is Big Jim pretty good at golf?
Yeah, my dad, he's really good.
He's very good at golf.
Him and his brothers all grew up playing golf. My grandpa was a really good golfer too. So I don't know what happened to us. We're already sullying the Riley name. That's
right. Well, did he take you guys a lot when you were younger?
He tried for sure.
Did you and Jimmy do the golf lessons?
I was in a weekly league at Sugar Creek, like with some buddies. Me, Andy, and then 2 of our other friends. Every week we'd go have a tea time, and we were mainly more excited about the hot dogs afterwards. So back then, I wasn't really into golf as much. But looking back on it now, I kind of wish I was.
Yeah.
Kind of wish I was, because I do know, like, our buddy Ben, who's helped us with some of our videos, he played golf growing up, and then he played golf in high school, and like he's so good. He shoots like, I mean, I don't want to undersell his skills, but I'm pretty sure he shoots like, I don't know, like low 80s, maybe even 70s. Ben, if I'm wrong, let me know. I don't know what your low score is, but I know it's way better than anything I've ever done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be happy to break 100.
Yeah.
We do have some stuff we actually want to talk about. I'm just trying to get my eyes under control because I don't know.
Yeah,
I look like an idiot. I might put some sunglasses on. So
Yeah, you don't look any less like an idiot.
I'm just gonna let my eyes clear a little bit. We have a wet bandit softball update that we want to get into.
Crowbars up.
Do we ever?
Oh boy, do we have a wet bandit softball update. I don't think we've ever had a more exciting wet bandit softball update than one that we have today. But we the wet bandits concluded our regular season this previous Tuesday, and it was a doubleheader, which, okay, first off, let's just start there. The incompetence of the Elmhurst Park District. There is still a week left in the regular season this week, but we played a doubleheader last week, and now we're off this week going into the playoffs. So that's cool. But played a doubleheader. We also played Team ZA, who we were tied with going into the game for first place. So it was basically whoever won this game was going to win first place for the regular season, which comes with a small cash prize and obviously top seed heading into the playoffs. Well, the Wet Bandits came out and whooped that ass. Straight up opened up a can of whoop ass to the tune of 20-0.
Zero.
Final score,
nothing.
0 shutout. A team that's tied for
Two
first
hits.
place. 2 hits, 0 runs.
0 runs. 0. None.
Although the game was not without some controversy.
Some
controversy.
Just
I'm gonna go with a dick ton of controversy.
A lot of controversy. So what was this? The third or fourth inning? The score is 15-0 at this point in the fourth.
Well, can we start by saying we put up a 10 spot on them in the first inning.
Top of the first.
So right off the bat, they are salty as fuck.
And then they go 1, 2, 3.
They go 1, 2, 3. Then we put up another
4 pitches.
Correct. Then we put up another 4 spot in the second inning, and then I think it was the top of the third inning where they called us out.
Yeah,
so
we only played 5 innings.
So yes, at this point the score is like 14 or 15-0, and they call out a bat check. They think that we're using an illegal bat. The ump checks out the bat, and the umps and the league staff for the Elmhurst Park District, all of whom pretty incompetent about what the rule is and what's legal and what's not legal. But as it turns out, the bat in question was deemed illegal. It was not USA or ISA standard.
ASA.
So the penalty for that is the player who brought the bat and the pitcher are tossed from the game. And we only had 10 guys. So right away that puts us down to 8. So we can't even field. I was not playing because my back has been bothering me. So I am brought into action to go play catcher because we need 9 guys to be able to at least have 3 guys in the outfield. I mean, I know we're up 15-0, but last thing we want is this team to squeak back into it because we couldn't even field. So right here anyway, whatever. The illegal bat was what it was. It wasn't malicious. Dave,
no.
I think Dave's only had it for a couple weeks and he got it like on discount. It wasn't like he knowingly just was trying to juice homers in a Tuesday C league. And
so here's the thing. So just so people understand, there's 3 stamps that can be on a bat. There's USA softball, there's ASA, and then there's USSSA. So I can see where like the mistake is made where you see USSSA on a bat and you think that it's good to go, right? So that's the bat that we're not allowed to use in our league. We can use USA or we can use ASA, and it just so happened the bat that he got was this illegal bat. So
which was only one of 4 bats that people use. So it's not like the whole team.
Right. It's not like everyone juices up. There's 2. Anthony uses the bat.
I use it.
And Dave used it. I'm pretty sure that was
his brother.
Okay, so 3 guys. And Mike's only been here for 2 weeks. So
yes. And Mike, you used the gold bat, right?
Yeah.
use the gold bat. Judd uses his black bat. Jimmy uses his gold bat. When
Nick,
Bob's on
Adam,
our
Bob,
team, he uses
gold
the gold
bat.
bat.
Yeah.
Chris,
I'm the
gold
only
bat.
one.
So yeah, it's
And now-
not it's
Right.
not like we've got this illegal bat and everyone's out here using it. Everyone's juicing homers like we're stacking the lineup. Like it's not like that. It's Dave made a mistake. He bought the wrong bat. He owned up to it. He felt bad about it.
Yeah.
Because of what ended up happening. So okay, so that happens. I come in and catch. We've got 9 guys. The score is already 15-0. Regardless of what they're gonna say, they have no runs and maybe 1 hit at this point. I don't even know if
They didn't even reach third base the whole game.
Yeah, they didn't get past second base. So and we were playing good defense and Bob was pitching great and they couldn't do anything. So the bat got removed, the players got removed. Sloan goes to the mound. After the bat was removed, we scored 4 runs without it, 5 runs without it, because it was 15-0 at the time. They still scored 0 runs after that. After we scored 3 runs the next inning, one of the players, while walking back to their dugout, grabs one of our other bats out of our teammate Adam's hand in the on deck circle.
I thought he was joking.
Goes up to the ump and says that this bat is also illegal. And he's showing the stamp, which was a USA softball stamp, which is legal. He's saying this is an illegal bat. And at this point, I'm just really annoyed because, okay, you guys had your 1 bat check. It was an illegal bat. The players got removed. It was what it was. Now you're just trying to get us forfeit the game, basically. Like remove enough players, losing 15-0. So I'm getting annoyed. So I'm like, what are you talking about? That's a USA softball bat. That's legal. He's like, this bat's illegal. So I'm like, what are you, the illegal bat police? How do you know which bat's legal and illegal? He goes, oh, well, it's because I was going to buy this bat actually before the season, and then I didn't because it's illegal. And I'm like, okay, that's a pretty convenient story for the circumstances, don't you think? He's like, yeah, whatever. So he comes up first in the inning, I believe, and I'm catching. So at this point, all bets are off. I'm talking shit in everybody's ear on this team because you're calling 2 bad checks. You're losing 15-0. You have
19
1 hit.
now.
Look
20
in the
now.
mirror. It's more than just 1 bat. You guys are getting roasted. 1 team showed up for this first place showdown. And it was the Wet Bandits.
Yeah.
So this guy hits a ball, pops it up about 25 feet to first base.
Real quick, he swung and missed at the first pitch, by the way.
Swung and missed. Pops the second one up to first base about 25 feet. As he's running back, he runs by, and I just muttered to him, really got a hold of that one. Guess you should have got that other bat, huh? And he charges at me and lifts the bat like he's going to swing it at me, and then cross-checks me in the chest with his bat and stands there, almost cries for about 30 seconds as I look in his face and say, do something. And then he didn't do something. And the ump, this is my favorite part of the whole exchange, was afterwards. This umpire was like late 60s, early 70s, easily.
Yeah.
Probably just does this for a little side cash and to stay active. He's in the middle of all this, not knowing what to do. The benches are basically cleared at this point. Okay, here's another aspect of this story. The benches are cleared. My dad is on the field. My mother is up against the backstop screaming, "That's my son! That's my son!" The single badass moment I have in my life where some guy tries to step to me and I just stand there and don't flinch. My parents both, good to know they're ride or die, but I knew that already. Didn't need him in that situation. But so
to be fair, Dad though was the ump told me to get off the field, and Dad said get the fucking game under control first, and then the ump said okay. So Dad was probably going out there to fight with you, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Mom was just letting them know. That,
I mean,
that's her son.
I know the consequences of getting in a fight in the softball, and I'm not willing to sacrifice a year of eligibility. So I was, if he was going to fight, throw a punch at me, he can get suspended all he wants, and he might and probably will get suspended.
We'll see.
The umpire did not have anything under control.
No,
He didn't toss that guy out of the game for making physical contact with me. As he's trying to get everything under control, Anthony, as he does
no,
sometimes.
hold on. Because there was one more thing that happened in between.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's one more thing that happened in between. Remember, he was having the conversation, everything was going down, and then it was the following inning.
You're right.
Or it was later. Yeah, it was the following inning, because then you picked up their bat and brought it over to their dugout and said, hey, this bat has the same stamp, or you said whatever you said. And that was when they're like, you're petty, bro. You're petty. And then that's when I opened my mouth.
Yeah. So, okay. No. So actually that happened
That happened first.
That happened right before.
Because he was the second batter.
Because then their feathers were already riled up. Because, okay.
That's when they're calling you petty.
That guy was the second guy up in the inning, because the first guy got out, and then I checked the bat. I was like, this is the same stamp you were just trying to say was illegal. Like, do we have to call a bat check on your guys' bats? And
they're
like, quit being petty, quit being petty.
And then that's when I opened my mouth.
Which is hilarious to call a bat check on a team that has 2 hits and 0 runs, but it's just more so the principle. Right. Then the thing with the other guy happened, and then as the ump was trying to get under control, Tone said some words. The umpire throws him out of the game.
Nothing
bad. He throws him out of the game, continues to let the other guy play who pushed me.
Yeah.
And, we went on to finish the game. That was basically his message, was like, all right, guys, this game's almost over. Like, basically saying, like, you guys are getting your asses kicked. Let's just finish this up.
Yeah.
He's not going to do any more bat checks or anything like that. So, and poor Tone, since he got ejected, not because of the illegal bat situation, just because of umpire discretion, he had to sit out the second game of our doubleheader, which at this point, everyone on the premises is fired up about what's going on with this whole situation. And obviously, like, that team is going to say whatever and try and admire us in controversy and say that we're a bunch of cheaters, this, that, and the other thing. We don't care. We kick their ass. We know we're probably not even going to see them in the playoffs because they're not really a good team at all. I don't know how they made it as far as they did without losing, but I definitely fear the Rutrose and Demitos more than that team. But I think if we play the way that we did, by the way, we ended up winning game 2 of the doubleheader 20-1. So
21-1.
Double 21-1.
21, but the website only cleared us 20.
Shutout with 20 runs. I was telling Mike, the Bandits started our season. We lost 15-3, got slaughtered in our first game of the season. After that, the following 9 games, we were on a 9-game winning streak. We averaged 17 runs a game, and we only gave up 8 runs a game in that same span. So we are averaging +8 run differential per game, +9. So pretty good stuff. And I think our defense has been really solid. Our pitching has been great, whether it had been Andy most of the season and Bob filling in here this last week. So I think if we just keep doing our thing, your boy's going to be back for the playoffs, full go.
Yeah.
I think the Bandits are going to be hoisting a trophy this year, boys.
Hope so.
I agree.
I feel it down in my plums.
My plums. I have 3 things that I would like to say about the situation.
Yeah, I got 2 after you.
Number 1, the most frustrating. Well, there's 2 frustrating things about the whole situation. Number 1, I don't like the idea of this team now besmirching our name and making us like, because these guys have friends on other teams, and and I even told you guys that this guy was talking to another team saying, how could you let that team beat you? So now in their heads, in their minds, they use an illegal bat. Everyone
beat our way through the season.
Exactly. So that's number 1. Number 2, the thing that really, really bothered me is the fact that the only 2 home runs that were hit in the game against this team were with the illegal bat.
Nick hit one.
No, he didn't.
One with the gold bat. Yeah,
are you sure? Okay.
Yes,
okay, great.
Nick hit one.
Okay, awesome.
But 2 or 3. 2 or 3.
So I was hoping Judd would fucking drop a bomb with his bat. Oh, you got it.
Real quick. I got the scorebook. All right. And I look back, and again, the final score 20-0 in the grand scheme of things, right? Because I mark RBIs and everything when I do a thorough book. Okay, when I'm coaching. And that bat accounted for 4 runs.
Right.
Of the 20, 4 runs.
So that's a perfect example. Okay. So you get rid of those runs. Fine.
Still slow.
Yes. And the third thing that I was going to mention was the fact that people who know me and people who, have been around me, I don't like confrontation. Like when everything was going down after you got pushed, I was at second base. Mike was running in from the outfield. Do you remember what I said to you, Mike? Did you hear me?
Yeah, you said, "Relax, Mike, relax."
I just said, just don't throw any punches. And I'm sitting there
Yep.
at second base. I'm not charging. I'm not doing any of that shit. So people who know me know that like I have a horrible mouth. I will essentially tell you to fuck yourself and fuck your entire family. Like I don't. When I'm fired up, I'm going to get my money's worth. All I said to get kicked out of this game, and I was not even talking to the umpire, was when they called you Patty or whatever they said that they were doing, and you the managers or you were talking with that one guy. All I said was, guys, shut up. I said you'd still be losing even with the legal bat. That's all I said. And that was when he turned around. He's like, you know what? 2-1, you're out of here.
I know he said 2-1 like 4 times.
Yeah,
I'm like, don't throw him out. Don't
to
throw
the
him
point
out.
where after the game, I had a buddy of mine who plays on the field over, and he comes over. He's like, yeah, all I heard was you start screaming, and now we're here. I'm like, did you hear what I said? I'm like, what did I say? He's like, yeah. He's like, all you said was, even with a legal bat, you guys are still losing. I'm like, see, exactly. He's like, yeah, I'm surprised you didn't tell him to go fuck himself or whatever. Like, it's like, I'm like, God. And then I'm trying to have a conversation with the umpire, and Chris is telling me like, stop. And I'm like, God, I just wanted to get my money's worth. And
yeah,
I didn't get a chance to do that. So anyone who's listening on the team go fuck your mother.
I got 2 quick points to add too. The one I was going to say was the only reason you did get kicked out, which is stupid still, is because you were louder than the other team, because those guys were trying to talk shit and they were saying it like they were barely squeaking it out. They were the ones that started it. Yeah. Well, actually, to be fair, when they started checking the bat, I was sitting on the edge of the bench closest to the plate, and I was letting them hear it. I was like, yeah, keep checking the bats, 15-0.
Yeah.
Then the old catcher who's jacked is like, you want to make this a problem? And Nick's like, okay, tough guy. And then I was like, yeah, you're the one that just struck out looking like you can use whatever bat you want.
That's what I told him. I'm like, chill out, Mamba. You're doing
it. Yeah. And then Pat was like, they were like, we just don't want an illegal bat used. And Pat's like, fine, we'll forfeit. Like, we know we can beat you in the playoffs. So like, that's not what it's about, blah, blah, whatever. My favorite part of all this fiasco, besides beating them, but the best part, I think, is you can take away every single run we scored and we still didn't lose. It would still go in as a tie. We didn't lose that game no matter how you look at it.
Literally.
Take away all 20 runs. We didn't lose still. That's how pathetic. I texted one of my friends that plays 12-inch. I was like, when was the last time you saw a team get shut out? Never. So, Chris texts.
Chris
7 leagues.
The group and said that he looked at all the scores from every league at Elkhurst this year.
For like the last 3 years.
They're the only team to get shut out. He's got advanced analytics.
Oh,
hilarious.
God.
But so again, I was sitting out this game because my back has been bothering me, and I didn't, I'm close, I didn't want to push it though. So I get brought into action, and I'm like going up to bat, and everyone's like, just swing easy. And so I normally swing easy anyway, but I'm up there basically just arms flailing out, and I got a hit. I went 1 for 1 in that game.
That the third baseman should have caught, and this team looked like a fool. He was trying to act all tough after.
I don't understand how this team was where they were in the standings. Their run differential was huge. I don't know. It was weird.
Was it their B team? They
can try and slander us all they want, but I don't care.
Bandits are better.
Well, I will say this right now. I will say that Mike. I don't know if he has the same last name as Dave, but Mike's brother or Dave's brother. He's been here for 4 weeks, maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And he's the only other guy to use that bat. So it's me and Dave that have been using that bat. So,
right. Exactly.
And real quick, one more thing, and then we can move on from this is that the reason I was so upset about getting kicked out was that I was a triple away from the cycle.
Okay. That's true.
4 for 4.
He was about to leg it.
Oh, I would have been out at third 100%.
I've got
the way they play defense. Not the way
right
they
here.
Play defense.
Yeah.
We got home run, single, double. Yeah.
Yep. Not happy about it, but you know
Right.
what? Fuck those guys and their mothers.
Yep, exactly. That's all that matters. We were gaming. Speaking of gaming, E3 was last weekend, June 12th through 15th, I want to say. And there were quite a few notable announcements. We're going to start with the big dog, Halo Infinite. Some good news, but not necessarily the news everybody was looking for. Free-to-play multiplayer, which is solid. An awesome campaign, which will probably be great like all the other Halos. But no Battle Royale, at least not now. And I know that has been a massive pipe dream for gamers since the Battle Royale genre has burst onto the scene. And I personally was hoping for it, but I will be okay with free-to-play multiplayer. I don't know how big you guys are into Halo, but that's pretty much, for me at least, where my multiplayer roots started. And it used to just be, it started as like LAN parties. Danny would bring his Xbox over to our house.
I remember those.
We would set up 2 TVs and we would do Rockets on Prisoner for like 4 hours. It was awesome. And then in high school, it just bust for hours after school. Tone, you a Halo guy?
I will say that in my lifetime of video games, first-person shooters never did it for me. Like
No.
I was never good enough to like be able to stick around, because everyone that was like everyone's thing. Like, everyone's thing is Halo, everyone's thing is Call of Duty, these first-person shooter games, and it was like I was late to the party. You know what I mean? So going into that was like with the online stuff and playing against friends, it'd be like, it wouldn't even be fun because I would just get fucking smoked the entire time.
Little secret.
Go ahead.
I get smoked all the time and I suck too. And it's just I question all the time when I'm playing like Warzone or something. Why do I do this to myself?
Right.
why can't I just be good at this? I love doing it so much. Why does time put in not equal like skill improve?
And that's why I was a big fan of Fortnite, because third person and just kind of the mechanics.
Gears guy then? Do you like
Say it again?
War? Did you like Gears of War ever?
I haven't really gotten into it. No.
Okay, so that's third person. It's over the shoulder.
Okay.
So that I had fun with that in high school. I honestly, similar. It's so funny now that we're talking about this out loud. Similar to our golf conversation before, I have stuck with video games more for the camaraderie and just like I spend more time hanging out with my friends playing video games than I do actually like in person or out at a bar or like watching games anymore.
You've always been good at video games though too.
I mean, I'm like baseline like decent. I'm like a even kill death ratio, like 1.
Out of the 3 of us, or out of you, me, and Jimmy, you're always the best.
Yeah, but Jimmy, it's so funny now that I'm thinking about this. There's so many parallels between video games and golf. Because Jimmy acts the same way when he plays video games as he does when he plays golf. He has so little patience.
Yeah.
He'll end up throwing either the club or the controller or something within.
I haven't seen him break a club yet, but he does break controllers quite often.
That's Fortnite has definitely cost me about free game, free to play, but it's definitely cost me about $200 in controllers.
Which is crazy that we've gotten to this point with video games where yes, the games themselves are free to play, but then you end up spending, like you said, $200 on the game for skins or whatever and cosmetics and coins, whatever. It's crazy what we do for entertainment.
Yeah.
So okay, but Halo, it's going to be awesome regardless. But I was just kind of hoping more for a battle royale.
That would have been cool.
Just because it's like all the rage right now, and it would have been. I mean, it just would have been the biggest one ever, just because of the franchise at hand, and because of the battle royale being at peak popularity right now, like especially for streamers. That's like the premier like games to be playing, or Warzone
for sure.
So it's disappointing in that aspect, but I think Halo is just one of those games where it just has had such an impact on the gaming community that everyone's going to play it regardless. So I
Yeah.
kind of also like the idea of them just sticking to their guns and being like, we don't need to adapt with the times. We're Halo.
Yeah. They got to be in what, the top 5 of all time in sales.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would imagine so. Just the like it's the premier video game franchise for Xbox.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's and Master Chief is like widely considered one of, if not the greatest video game character by most people who know anything about video games. But so switching gears a little bit over to the single player or just like story-based games. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 was announced. And I don't know if you guys have the Switch or have played that game, but Breath of the Wild, one of the best games that I've ever played for sure. But it won Game of the Year when it came out in 2016. It came out at launch with the Switch, and anyone who played it and got into it put days worth of time into it. And it's just one of the better open world expansive games that's ever come out. And obviously if you played the games growing up, you have a little bit more of an attachment value with it. But hearing that they're having a sequel come out to that game was really exciting. And personally, I think it's cool, but I think back, like I played the Switch so much back then because of my circumstance. I was commuting into the city for work. So I was on the train for an hour to and from every day. So I would basically be putting 2 hours in on the Switch every day on the train. And it was awesome. But now it's like, obviously life circumstances have changed. I still commute a while, but I'm driving, and then I come home and I've got a kid now, so I have to like take care of her. So can't just, I still get my gaming in a little bit, but not as much as before. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play this one as much as the previous, but it's still an exciting thing for fans. And just personally being a fan of video games, seeing what the Switch has been able to do. And it seems like there might be a new version of the Switch coming out. It's so awesome to see how Nintendo kind of not revived themselves, but they were falling behind the pack with the video game, like the next gen consoles. And they found a way to kind of reinvigorate and reinsert themselves back as a Titan.
Yeah, I will say, I think to that point, I think that they're more of like the kid friendly console. You know what I mean? So I think they're still kind of pushing their games and pushing their stuff towards that idea of like, kid friendly and, a lot of colorful stuff. And Nintendo's always been like that, Yeah. So here's my situation with Zelda and with video games and all of that. So we grew up a Nintendo family. Like we were, my first system as a kid, Super Nintendo. Personally, I feel like, because of the nostalgia and because of like growing up with that, like that's my favorite system of all time. Zelda, Link to the Past, my favorite video game of all time. I think that's one of the best produced and best created video games that ever. Like just the way that it was engineered, and the way that story and the way that the gameplay went and all of that stuff. It was a perfect video game. So after Super Nintendo, and I've mentioned this before, we moved on to PlayStation. So I didn't really have an N64. So like Link to the Past was kind of my last.
You didn't get to play Ocarina of Time?
I didn't play that one. The last one, honestly, that I played was the one on the Wii. And I can't, Twilight Princess, maybe. I think that was we had the horse or whatever. Yeah. So that was the last one that I played, and it was fantastic. But now it's here because Ocarina of Time is, I think, Andy's favorite game of all time. Yeah, and that's what I hear. So that game was essentially like Link to the Past, but like 3D version of it. Like it had the same kind of concept and dungeons and shit like that. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like it's upsetting. Like there's every now and then I'll like take a look on Facebook, or I'm in a couple Facebook groups that raffle off Switches, and I'm always trying to win one because like I want to play Zelda again, because all I hear is how awesome this newest Zelda is, and now that they're coming out with the sequel, it's like I want to get back into it, so bad. But growing up, those were our games. We were like a Final Fantasy family, RPG type games. What do you call it? Turn-based, where you're walking through whatever map you're walking through, and then all of a sudden you get attacked, and now you're doing your turn-based. We call them RPGs, but it's not. Most games are RPGs in that sense. But the scrolling games, Mega Man is my favorite game series, Metroid, shit like that for Super Nintendo.
So Metroid, they announced a new Metroid for Switch as well, since you brought that up.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to have to at some point.
Said it's going to be like a 2D as well, like with updated graphics, but not.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's right up my alley, dude. I fucking
and that's one thing the Switch is starting to do a lot more of now, is integrating some of the old like Super Nintendo and older games so you can play them handheld.
That's what I want. Yeah.
So Mike, actually interesting story. I don't even know when you were bought this, but you got a Nintendo DS.
I remember that.
Probably when you
from
were
Santa Claus.
Yeah, from Santa when you were in elementary school, and it was the Legend of Zelda
edition.
I forget the game, the game on the Switch. I forget what it was, but I remember playing that game, and just every Legend of Zelda game I ever played has been awesome. And even the DS game
that was the first one I played.
I put so many hours into that game. I would bring it to school and play it at study hall and stuff. Like, it was just, it's a great series. And after playing through the first Breath of the Wild, which I didn't even get like 100% through, like it would take forever to get 100, but I beat the main storyline. But there's so many other things that you can collect, and I'm very excited. And to me, the big thing when the Switch came out originally was, if you're going to do a new system, you have to have a good Zelda game and you have to have a good Mario game.
1000%.
Super Mario Odyssey was probably the most fun I've had playing video games since I was a kid, because Mario is my favorite gaming series. Like Super Mario World
that's number 3 on my list.
Yeah. Like the first memory I have playing video games growing up. And I have a Super Nintendo still, which I'll boot up and play every once in a while. And it's just, when I played Super Mario Odyssey, it was just such an awesome venture into update. It's like it has that same nostalgic feel, but it's like with the times. Like there's one level where it's like basically New York City, but you're just like jumping around and just you're still Mario. I don't know. It's crazy how they've been able to, how that series has been able to transcend time kind of. And I don't know if you ever played like Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii.
That was incredible.
Those games were awesome.
Incredible.
So they've always just found ways to make Mario matter. And that's like the important thing. He's the main face of the Nintendo franchise.
Did you ever play Super Mario RPG?
No, I've heard it's like one of.
So that right there is that's right up my alley.
Right.
That game was incredible. Like that's one of those games where you like, oh, I have to, I have to find a certain weapon, and you're going to use that a certain sword in a dungeon, or a certain sword in a chest somewhere, and then that's the sword that you're going to use, or that's the power up you're going to use. If you have a Super Nintendo, which you say that you do, and you play, I'm telling you right now, find Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. You will not
I've heard great things.
The thing that's great about the Mario game
is it like turn-based then? Like you
absolutely, yes. And there's it's an RPG. It's like my style of games, Final Fantasy style. You're walking, you run into a Goomba, and now you're fighting the Goombas. There's bosses, there's different levels, there's different quests and stuff. It's awesome. Incredible. So the thing that I love the most about Mario, and especially the game that you have behind you, that's number 3 on my list of best games of all time, is that they're so simple, but yet so complex.
Oh yeah.
Like the seven, the different dungeons that you have to go through, and you have to go through the different worlds, and there's the portals to the different worlds. Think about Mario 3. Think about how all the different, all the crazy shit that you can do in that game, yet it was so it was at a time where video games were still so like 1, 2, 3, like this is what you need to do. Yeah, you're gonna find some secrets, you're gonna find some Easter eggs here and there, but like
Oh my
it
God.
was just simple. Like this is what you're doing. Like this
Right.
is where you need to go. Every now and then you'll find a portal that's gonna skip you ahead to a different boss. But like for the most part, it's you have to do level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and that's why I fucking love those games. And now all I want to do is play Super Nintendo.
Right.
Bring it next week.
So good. I will.
Fuck.
Love video games.
Yeah.
Hey, really quick, I just found that DS that I had, the gold one. It had like that
Triforce.
gold. It had the gold triangle on the bottom with like a different. You can sell it on eBay now for $250.
Seriously?
Find it.
I might
Find
go
it.
look for that. Do you have it? Yeah.
Have
There's
it.
a different one because remember when they made a 3DS? It was like a little bit of a nicer DS. The Zelda one of that sells for $500 on eBay. So
Oh wow.
we got a good
Okay.
one on our
I think I
hands.
might have it. I'll check and see. You found the sale, so I'll just take a small cut maybe. Or maybe
We can
sell
just
it on the
start
side.
playing it again. Give it to Alex. I'm sure he'd like that.
Alex will be like, what the hell is
Love-
this?
That's what got Alex into video games, is playing on the DS. I actually
Oh,
feel
good.
me and Alyssa
Play with
feel
us.
slightly responsible for Alex's video game, borderline video game
That white
addiction,
DS.
because we used to play Mario Kart with him in DS all the time because we all had a DS
Mhm.
and we would just bust. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Real quick, lastly, I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at any of the footage, but Square Enix, which actually is the production company that made most of the Final Fantasy games, they've been dabbling in the superhero genre, and they had the underwhelming Marvel's Avengers come out about half a year ago now, probably December time, right around Christmas,
Not good.
which tanked terribly, did not have a lot of sales. The active players are like under 5,000 or something already. So yeah, but for whatever reason, they've also now made and premiered footage for a Guardians of the Galaxy game, which looks like the worst game ever. If you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy and you see the character designs for this video game, you're just gonna laugh. We made fun of when they announced the Avengers that it looked like Kirkland brand of the Avengers, we called it, and knockoffs. This is exactly how that looks, and I don't understand how Avengers came out, flopped, and they were still like, all right, let's go forward with the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Yeah.
The design for Drax alone, I know it's more comic book accurate, but it just, no thanks. We talked about maybe getting the Avengers game and teaming up together, and then once the reviews came out, it was pretty much a no.
Yeah.
And that was E3. I'm sure there was a lot more that came out. I know there's probably because of the next gen systems.
I think
Andy-
I think those were the big
yeah, those are
the big ones.
Andy got a Series X last week. He finally decided to take the dive. I've decided I think I'm not going to upgrade systems any further because I suck at video games. I like playing them, but competitively, like I don't get any advantages from having the newer system. I'm still going to get shit on by 12-year-olds.
Yeah, that's
I'll
my
get the new
biggest
one
that's my biggest
eventually.
problem with video games now. That's why I love like the nostalgic stuff of, I'll do the Game Pass and I'll take a look at like old school games, even like the stuff that comes out now that's like platform type stuff. Like I'm just very, very simplistic when it comes to my video games. I got the Tony Hawk and was playing that. And like even that too, like there's just so many like different things you can open up and unlock, and like I don't have time for all of that shit. I just want to play and I want to, you know what I mean? There's just too much. Like I don't want to up to even like the MLB. I want to have a set thing. I want to play a season with the people that are there, and I don't want to have to worry about, all the other shit that comes with it. So that's kind of my deal with video games. I'm a very old soul when it comes to shit like that.
I like it a lot.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna touch on a couple other things real quick. And then we've got a Hall of Fame we're going to end with today, but we're running a little long. But I wanted to touch on, there was some big news out of Chicago this week, and it was that the Chicago Bears came out and released a statement saying that they put in a bid to purchase the land at Arlington Racetrack, which, if you're local to the area like we are, this is the final season of Arlington Racetrack. And then their lease is up and the Bears are putting in a bid to buy it. So if the Bears were to buy it, successfully purchase it, they would build a stadium and play their home games there. And it would probably be a state-of-the-art stadium that could host at least one Super Bowl, but then potential for Final Fours and other big events and concerts year round, and retractable domes and nice turf and competitive advantages for the team. So there's a lot of business reasons why it actually does make sense. Chicago's fantastic mayor, Lori Lightfoot, came out with a pretty bold statement saying, why don't you guys worry about beating the Packers and staying relevant past October? And then, but also we still need you to stay here. So that's going to be fun. Personally, I'm for it. As someone who lives in the suburbs, it would make my life a lot easier going to Bears games. It would make it a lot more accessible to a lot more Bears fans, because I know they are the Chicago Bears, but the Chicagoland area is pretty massive and the fandom runs deep, and everyone would like an equal opportunity. And just imagine the Bears doubling their seating capacity and being able to sell double the amount of season tickets and put all that revenue back into the team. So
That would be awesome.
I'm for it.
I agree, but I have one condition for it. They cannot close if they make it a retractable roof. When it's snowing, they can't close it. Got to keep the bear weather. Got to keep that advantage. The tough defense, bear weather. If they start playing indoors with the turf field and you're not freezing your ass at the game, then I don't like it. But as long as they keep that, I like a bigger stadium with double the seating.
I'll take the warm
right
heated stadium.
Yeah, I kind of sort of agree with it. I think it would be cool to, like, pump in the heat but keep the dome open. You know what I mean? So like half partially open, so it still kind of has that chill to it. I see. I'm kind of on the fence, literally, because that's my backyard. I can walk to Arlington from my house. It's like 3 miles from where I'm at. So it's great in a sense that my taxes will reduce dramatically. My property value will I feel like skyrocket. It sucks.
Land into a parking lot, and then you could have a scalper.
Right. I feel like I'm the property value thing is cool, but we don't really plan on leaving here anytime soon. Right. We have no intention of moving. This is our, this could potentially be our forever home. It sounded really, really cheesy. But yeah, I don't really have any intention of really selling. So the property value thing is whatever. The taxes thing for us would be phenomenal. If it dramatically reduces our taxes, then I'm all for it. I just think the same thing with the Olympics. When the Olympic bid was in Chicago, I feel like just a lot of construction, a lot of hoopla. I enjoy being able to not worry about parking or traffic and all that stuff. I just feel like it's going to be messy, and it's going to be a cluster, and that's kind of what I'm not looking forward to. But if they have a state-of-the-art stadium and
tailgated tones, and then walk to the game.
Literally, you could. 3 miles is a little. I'll check. I'll see exactly what it is now, but I'm 50-50 on it. I think it would be awesome. Do I think it's going to happen? I'm like 80-20 on that. 80 no, 20 yes. So
Lightfoot basically said she thinks it's just a negotiation tactic, which is definitely possible. But we'll see. I feel like the Bears themselves would like to stay in Chicago if they could, but I don't think that there's really much opportunity or wiggle room for them to redo that stadium again. here's the funny thing about the whole thing is back in 2003, when they redid the stadium and gave it the really weird spaceship
Alien.
looking,
Yeah.
and instead of just building a dome or doing something that made sense, Ted Phillips negotiated that deal, and somehow now is the one releasing the statement talking about the Bears trying to buy the land in Arlington because his previous decision sucked.
Didn't they lose seating from that?
They gained some seating, but they're now 18 years later the smallest seating capacity in the NFL.
Right.
So it's like they didn't have the foresight to see where everyone was going with stadiums. And the Bears are not like the Rams with the Cronkies, like billionaires where they or Jerry Jones, obviously, where they can just up and pay for their own stadiums out of pocket.
Yeah.
The Bears don't have that kind of money. The Bears are an inherited franchise, family franchise, and they basically all of their income comes from the team. So it's not like they're business people where they can just pay for this stuff. So it all have to be publicly funded. So basically the funny thing is the taxpayers of Chicago would have to pay for the team to build a stadium in Arlington Heights.
Right.
So
that's another thing that, so that's another thing that I don't know the logistics of it all, but like, would it be like like Arlington, with Soldier Field or whatever they name it, would that be in Arlington Heights, or would they consider that like a subset of Chicago? Like that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like logistically, I don't know how that.
Right, they'd probably change the map for like Arlington
Heights. Like O'Hare is technically Chicago.
Right.
But it's not,
right.
You know what I mean? It's surrounded. So I don't know. I don't know what the logistics are. I pray that we wouldn't have to fucking flip the bill on that. That would be.
Yeah. That would be.
So I don't know.
I just looked up. Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever seen the old Soldier Field. I like it. But the capacity in Soldier Field in 1994 was 66,944, and now it's 61,500.
Okay, so they did
lose seating. They lost seats from that. It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Still has his job. Gotta love it.
Terrible.
Gotta love nepotism, right? It's great. Okay, a couple other things real quick before our Hall of Fame. I wanted to bring this up in particular because I thought it was so funny when I came across this story. But for those of you who aren't familiar, on HBO Max, there is an animated Harley Quinn TV series, which Mike forgot to mention. Mike's nice blue Harlequin walls is the name of the paint color. Nice iron there. Good job, Mike. Way to paint your room to fit the episode. I like it. That's commitment.
Anything for the team.
On this animated series, which focuses on the villains, which the show writers have talked about how they enjoy being able to focus more on the villains to have more creative storylines and kind of not within the box. And one of the episodes was going to feature Batman going to downtown on Catwoman, and Warner Brothers came out and scrapped the idea, and their statement said, superheroes don't do that. Now, don't get me wrong. Batman is the greatest detective in the world. I am not, but I can put some things together. Bruce Wayne, Batman, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. That dude eats a lot of pussy.
Yeah.
Not like, it's not like he eats a lot of pussy. Like exuberance of amounts.
Yeah.
He's eating pussy in multiple countries, probably like with people from multiple countries.
Yeah.
He gets down. Maybe, and he is Batman. So I don't, he probably has done it like as a show trick in the suit, like that's part of his game. Like, oh, I'm Batman. He like just whispers in their ear all deep. And then like, you have to wear the suit.
It'd be a hard hard. I mean, you're like,
why do you think the mouth's open on the suit?
Right. I mean, that's gotta be the only reason.
It's just a hilarious story though, overall.
I gotta check that show out. HBO, huh?
Me too. I didn't even
You know what?
Honestly, I saw you put that segment in there. I had no idea what it was about.
I mean, is there a better way to market a show like that than this? Than having
No.
like this out in the mix?
I mean, I feel like we should get some sort of royalties.
Haley Coco from Big Bang Theory fame voices Harley Quinn.
Oh, nice. Did you? I had a little pivot here. Did you guys watch Flight Attendant?
No.
HBO. If you have HBO, give it a shot. It's very, very, very good.
Okay, definitely.
Very fun.
Check that out for sure.
And she's not ugly. So
she's not. She's
No.
very. It's so funny. So, there was this challenge going around social media a couple weeks where it was like people were posting who would pictures of actors that would play their parents in a movie. So like everyone was like just posting it and like hashtag, like I forget what the hashtag was, but so then me and Alyssa were like talking about who would play like everyone in our family. And then we've been watching The Big Bang Theory just while like laying in bed at night. And Penny, her Kaylee Coco's character, like towards the end of the show, we're like almost done with it. She becomes a pharmaceutical sales rep, which is what Alyssa does. And like,
oh, nice.
so Alyssa's just like, Kaylee Coco's totally who would play me. You know, she's like, we're the same person. And like, she's just like, she's always just pointing out how they're the same now. It's pretty funny. And I totally forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, I always just say, I'm like, well, she's pretty. And that's just like putting it pretty lightly.
Yeah. Flight Attendant is good. Give it a shot. It's, I think, 8 episodes.
Okay.
It's like a murder mystery type deal.
Dude, those are my favorite kind of shows.
She plays a drunk, and she is like, you're convinced that she's blasted throughout the entire thing. She does a great job.
I literally declared like 2 weeks ago that I think murder mysteries are my favorite genre of TV shows. Like some of my favorite seasons or shows that I've watched are murder mysteries. And on that same token, if you have HBO and you haven't, Mayor of Easttown, starring Kate Winslet, really good.
I heard good things about that as well.
Very good, very good.
So definitely Flight Attendant, give that a shot. And then the Mayor of Easttown.
Mayor of Easttown, Mare. It's kind of a weird name for the show, but it's
like
Mayor.
Oh, got it. Not like the mayor.
Right.
Mayor. No.
It's very. It's in Philadelphia, so it's very water.
Yeah. Drink some water.
Okay. NBA playoffs. The Western Conference Finals are set as the Clippers took down the Jazz yesterday without Kawhi. They won the last 2 games of that series without Kawhi, whose status for the conference finals are uncertain with a undiagnosed knee injury. I don't think it's come out what it actually is yet, but I read that they fear it was an ACL tear, which is never good, obviously. And then on the other end, the upstart Phoenix Suns are in the finals after sweeping the Nuggets, but Chris Paul is in the COVID protocol and his status is uncertain, even though he's vaccinated. And so I don't really know the situation with that, but obviously for the NBA, cannot imagine a worse storyline to have leading your Western Conference Finals than the 2 biggest superstars on each team, possibly and probably missing the series.
Do you know why he's on protocol?
Chris Paul, did it come out?
Yeah, unless I like misread something.
Let's hear it.
I think he ran up and he gave his family a hug after
that's what it is.
Game. That's what I read.
Did that too. Yeah.
So unless maybe I was reading like one of those like sports mockery Facebook that's a possibility. But yeah, I mean,
from what you're right though, to violate protocol, it's very vague. So I hate that there's not like more specifics on what it is, but just a really crushing blow. I feel for him more than anyone in this situation.
But I still don't see him missing the whole series. Like
I don't understand either.
Started yet?
If it's 10 games,
even if he has COVID, I feel like it's already been 4 days. He would have another week at most. I just don't see him missing the whole entire series. I mean, if he has COVID, he's going to come back. It's going to be tough, but
isolation time is 10 days. Can be reduced if a player's vaccinated.
Okay.
All right. The team did not say why, so I might have just seen something that.
He did hug his family though, so someone probably.
The fact that the Clippers closed it out yesterday is probably worse off for Chris Paul. He was probably hoping that the series went 7 to extend.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's already been like 3 or 4 days, so I could see him probably being back for games 3, hopefully. I feel for
agree.
him the most because this seems like his best opportunity to finally get to the finals.
Yep.
I know the
He
Clippers
balled
are
out
good, but if
that last
Kawhi's
game.
out, then it's definitely his best opportunity. And to do it against the Clippers would be sweet justice for him.
For sure.
Yep.
He spent so much time, basically built that franchise up after being dog shit for 25 years, made them relevant. And then to potentially, although we'll see what happens in the East because the Nets are banged up and that series against the Bucks has been crazy, but potentially having an opportunity to go against the Nets and Harden, someone that he played with and kind of did butt heads with, and then Blake Griffin too, and DeAndre Jordan, who same thing, kind of butt heads with them on his way out. So Chris Paul is a guy who does seem to butt heads with a lot of people, so it does make you wonder. But
He's kind of an asshole.
His like goodwill and all that stuff is very well documented. So like he's just a competitor, and he's never reached the pinnacle of his sport when a lot of his friends have.
Yeah.
And I'm pulling for the Suns. That's who I'm really hoping wins.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of with him being out. I think that kind of takes away from the I don't know, the sexiness of like the storylines and like what all the things that you just mentioned. Like no matter what happens, I feel like there's a good storyline that they're missing out if he's not in there. So hopefully he can pull through. I mean, I've always kind of liked Chris Paul. I haven't really.
Me too.
He like you said, he kind of might rub people the wrong way, but he might rub people the wrong way because he wants to win and he wants to, be successful and
competitor.
Yeah, you don't see what happens behind closed doors. Or we could all be wrong. He could be a complete asshole and a prima donna and this and that. So it is unfortunate. I mean, I hate to kind of agree a little bit with what LeBron said about all the people that are injured because they didn't really have a reset and this and that. Like, it sucks. I mean, the playoffs, the playoffs have, I feel like, lost a ton of players, at least, 1 game, 2 games, a whole series, stuff like that. So, it's unfortunate to see that.
Leave it to LeBron to make it all about himself, though.
Exactly. And that's one of the more unfortunate, the more unfortunate things about his quote is that, like you said, it's all about himself, and it always is, but that's a story for another day.
Yep. All right, boys. Well, let's wrap this one up with our Hall of Fame. It's been a while since we've done these. So for those of you at home, if you've forgotten, this is a little bit different than the mock draft. We're not picking against each other. We've all constructed lists ahead of time, picked 5 people to add to our Hall of Fame for fictional fathers in honor of Father's Day. So I actually wanted to start real quick, just put this out there into the world before anything happened. My list is not, I don't really have it in any particular order, except for my number one fictional father ever, Tony Stark in Endgame. Great dad in that movie. I Love You 3000 was beautiful, and then sacrifices himself. Spoilers for the world. Doesn't get any better than that as a dad. Plus, I haven't seen that one yet. Last week in the Tony draft. So,
all right, who's starting?
We can just kind of talk. We usually just kind of go through a little bit. So, Tony, you can throw 1 or 2 out.
All right, I kind of have mine in somewhat of an order. Number 5, I would say Vito Corleone.
Nice.
From obviously The Godfather. And then my number 4, I'd have to say, and there was a good segue too, or not a good segue, but there was kind of a mention of him before. I forgot what it was. I wanted to mention it, but number 4, I'd have to say is Clark Griswold.
I have him on my list too.
Vacation.
So do I, actually.
Oh, unanimous Hall of Famer, Clark Griswold.
Unanimous Hall of Famer.
I'll put a little star by that.
We do that. If all 3 or all 4, however many hosts there are, all have someone on the list, they're unanimous. So Clark Griswold.
I think we might have more than one.
Let's see. Okay, Mike, let's hear what else. Let's hear a few years.
I also numbered mine. Tough. They could definitely probably switch, but my number 5, I had Mr. Incredible.
Nice. Strong.
And then my number 4, which I don't know if this will be on anyone else's list, because when I told Dad, he's like, I forgot he was a dad in that show. But I put Ari Gold because he goes to extremes for his kids, even though that's not his major role. He goes to extremes to get Jonah into private school, and he goes to extremes to keep Sarah from dating that little movie star. So I put Ari in there.
That's true. I forgot. You forget that he's a dad.
That's exactly what Dad said when I said that one.
Okay, I like it. Okay, I had obviously I had Tony Stark because he's great. Clark Griswold, we mentioned. I put Jim's dad from American Pie.
That's a good
I mean,
one.
walking in on what he walked in on and just keeping it to himself and not telling the mom, and then just also like kind of helping Jim through all these weird situations he gets in. I mean, that's top quality dad right there. And then I also had Red Foreman from that 70s show. Hard ass dad, but just like really actually cared about everybody and, took in Hyde and good American dad.
Damn, I missed that one.
That's a really good one.
And then I'll just throw out my last one too, and then we can discuss the rest of your guys. I did Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's like a father figure to Will, obviously, but he is obviously Carlton and Ashley and what's the name's dad. But yeah, and just obviously there's so many scenes with him that I can just think of where he has those powerful moments where he's teaching them. The one that comes to mind is when Will's real dad comes to meet him.
Yeah.
And kind of rejects him and has the whole crying back and forth, but just a good TV dad.
Yeah, that was a tough scene.
Yeah.
That was a tough scene for sure.
All right, what else we got? And then we'll do honorable mentions.
All right. So I have I threw Ned Stark in there.
Good one.
Ned Stark, obviously.
It's on my honorable mentions.
Man of Honor. I had to, just because it's my number one comedy, and we've been talking about this for a while. Actually, the last couple weeks. Frank Reynolds is on there. Technically not actually their dad, but
father figure,
possibly Charlie's dad. So
allow it.
I mean, he's not a great dad by any stretch of the imagination, but he's still a dad, and still fucking the best. And then my number one, I mean, I don't know. I think this has to be on people's list, but Darth Vader, had to throw him on there because of obvious reasons. So that's my list.
He does redeem himself in the end.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I'm not even. Again, my list is not like good fathers. It's like, you know what I mean.
Everyone
like
has their own list. You give this segment. Everyone has their own opinions.
For sure.
Not gonna trash you for them.
No.
But while we're talking about Darth Vader,
turn it on.
Oh
no!
Would have been cooler if it didn't fall.
It would have been so cool, and it would have been awesome if you would have done like a clap, turned your lights off, and then
dude.
There you go.
I should try and link all this up so it's like this is on a clapper, but my lights are on the alternate clapper, so it turns off. Turns on. That seems like a lot of work. I don't know if I can pull that off. All right, Mike, what do you got?
Number 3, I had Clark Griswold. Number 2, I had Marlin from Finding Nemo.
Nice.
Swam all the way to Australia for him.
Yep.
That's true.
And then number 1, the original one I had ended up being, I forgot the movie's a true story, so it's not a fictional dad, but it was Chris Gardner, played by Will Smith in Pursuit of Happiness. That was it. Ended up changing it, did a little deeper thinking, and it's a little bit outside of the box, but I went with Master Splinter.
Oh, dude, that's a wow.
Adoptive dad. That's for sure.
Like that.
That's the father figure. Yeah, that's what. I don't know how it came to me, but it did, and I knew that was a good number 1.
I mean, look at how hard it hit the turtles in the first movie when he got kidnapped. That's a great pick, Mike. You surprised me today.
Thank you.
That was that one tugged on the heartstrings.
That was wise beyond your years, Mike. Wasn't expecting
turtles.
That one tugged on the heartstrings a little bit. I'm not
crying. Now, as I'm also looking at my hat, honorable mention, I'm going to go with Mando from The Mandalorian. If I would have thought about this earlier, might have included him, but Homer Simpson.
Yep,
I had that.
More on at times, but usually a good dad. He ends up finding the right reasoning behind everything.
Yeah.
And then I also had John Quincy Archibald from the movie John Q with Denzel Washington. He holds a doctor and his staff hostage to do a heart surgery for his son. Bold move, but got his son a new heart. And then Hal from Malcolm in the Middle, because his family's insane and somehow he keeps it all together.
All right. I have see here's the thing. In my brain, I'm just thinking fictional fathers. So like the father figure thing, that's, and I screwed that one up because I have Frank Gallagher from Shameless, who is not a father figure. I'm going
hey, you can interpret this however you please.
All right,
that's
good.
the beauty of the segment.
Good.
I mean, I picked a noodle last week for our Tony draft.
So Frank Gallagher's up there. I had, and see, here's another thing too. Like, I feel like you could have said Ed O'Neill.
Oh
because he's the dad from Modern Family and he's fantastic, and he's Al Bundy. So like, kind of putting those two together.
See, that I would have allowed that.
And I have there's like a couple of them that I thought like Tim Allen would have been good because
I had Tim Taylor as an honorable mention too.
Yeah. So Frank Gallagher, Cleo McDowell from Coming to America. I had Peter Griffin on there. I had Danny Tanner.
Oh,
he would have definitely fit the
I also had
father figure.
Cohen from the OC. I don't know if you guys watched the OC, but
No. I had Henry Jones Sr., who is Indiana Jones's dad, Sean Connery.
Yeah.
God rest his soul. And this was the hardest one to not put into my top 5. This is my number 6 pick. But if you're going father figure, you got to go Mrs. Doubtfire. You got to go Danny.
Good
So
pick.
that was my big list. This was a tough
It's
list.
a tough one
For sure.
Any mentions?
Yeah, I had a couple. Actually, these are from Dad because I was talking to him about this segment. He said Homer Simpson, which I also said. And then he said Al Bundy as well. And then Mr. Brady from the Brady Bunch.
Oh my God.
Mr. Brady. All those kids.
I never even thought of that one. Holy cow.
That's a good one. Mike Brady, right? Is his name?
Yep.
Old Mike Brady. Solid. All right.
Yeah.
Well, another great episode. Thank you guys for filling in, picking up the slack for the slackers.
Always.
We'll be back next week. I guess we can officially announce it. We're wrapping up our A&E documentary series, WWE Legends biography. We're all getting together at Anthony's place. We're going to be grilling, chilling, talking about the last 3 docs and just wrestling in general. And we'll have some other things planned as well. So should be a good time.
Pumped up.
Appreciate all you guys for listening. If you don't already, follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, @Bros Let's Talk. You can find our episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Spotify, basically anywhere podcasts are found. It lives at anchor.fm/Bros Let's Talk. And for a few more short weeks, our website is brosletstalk.com. I will update it when we have a new URL that's free. For Anthony, Mike, this is Pat. Later, dudes.
See you guys.
Yep.